Back in 2025, there was this one social tech company, Linkspreed, that went through a change so huge, so fundamental, that even its own leadership could only find one word for it. So today, we're going to dig in and see just how they pulled it off. And that word, it was wild. Now, when a leadership team says that, you know it means something. It hints at this incredible mix of chaos, ambition, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of controlled insanity. So, what on earth made 2025 so wild for Linkspreed? Well, here's the thing. At its heart, 2025 was the year Linkspreed decided it wasn't just a platform anymore. No, it was going to become a powerhouse. And we're not talking about just adding a few bells and whistles. This was a complete reinvention of who they were and their entire technological DNA. This is the key shift right here. Look at this. Going from a promising platform to a powerhouse of digital infrastructure, that is a massive, massive leap. It's really the difference between being just another website you visit and being the actual foundation that tons of other communities can be built on top of. The real question is, how did they even do it? It all kicked off with this one big idea, the Linkspreed ecosystem. And listen, this wasn't just some new product they were launching. This was the blueprint for their new identity, the very bedrock that everything else was going to be built on. So what is the ecosystem really? Well, it's not one single thing. Think of it more like a living environment made up of 6 interconnected parts. And the real genius here? It was built so that creators, brands, and developers weren't just in the same space, they were actually working together, completely in sync. And okay, this is where it gets really, really smart. Instead of just handing people a toolbox and saying, good luck building your own social network, Linkspreed automated the whole darn thing. They called it social networks as a service, and what it did was basically get rid of all the manual headaches. Anyone could now launch, manage, and grow their own social space with crazy efficiency. But hold on. When you have an ecosystem with all these different services, you run into a huge potential problem, right? The user experience can get clunky and confusing. Linkspreed saw this coming a mile away, and they decided to tackle the identity problem head-on, creating what's basically a universal digital passport. They called it UIID, Universal Integrated Identity. It's the digital passport for their entire world. This became the literal heartbeat of the system. It let users glide seamlessly and securely between all 6 branches without ever feeling like they left. And the really important part? It was all built around user sovereignty, meaning you, the user, always kept control of your own data. So these were some big, bold ideas, right? A whole new ecosystem, social networks as a service, a universal ID. But did any of it actually work? Well, let's look at the data. Because honestly, the numbers behind this transformation are just staggering. Okay, first up, that core promise of 6 ecosystem branches, they didn't just launch them, they launched and fully integrated every single one. I mean, just think about that. Pulling that off in a single year is absolutely monumental. And on top of that foundation, they pushed out over 400 new features. This shows it wasn't just about building the house. It was this relentless, nonstop pace of innovation across every single part of it. So, did people like it? Oh yeah, the market responded in a huge way. Get this, in just the last half of the year, over 750 new communities were built on their platform. That's not just adoption, that's a full-blown explosion. All of this activity, of course, put their brand new infrastructure to the test. It ended up processing over 120 terabytes of data. This proved the system wasn't just a cool idea on a whiteboard. It was tough, it was robust, and it was ready for the real world. But here it is, the ultimate stress test. Their servers handled over 1.3 billion requests. That number right there proves that their new tech wasn't just innovative, it was stable, it was reliable, and it was massively scalable. So when you see numbers like that, after a year that intense, a year of just pure building, you have to ask the obvious question, what comes next? Where does all of this incredible momentum actually go? And that brings us to the road ahead. Linkspreed was super clear about this. 2025 was all about pouring the foundation. 2026, that's when they plan to build the skyscraper on top of it. It's all about impact. You gotta love the company's own metaphor for this. They said 2025 was like chasing the lightning, this frantic, high-energy year of just building, building, building. But now, with everything in place, they're predicting explosive impact for 2026. They're officially shifting gears from construction to execution. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it?
After that wild year of change, they came out the other side with this quiet, absolute confidence. There's no more guessing. They know exactly who they are, where they're headed, and what they're about to do. Which leaves us with one final, pretty fascinating question to think about. We've seen the incredible foundation they built. We've seen the mind-boggling numbers they hit. If all of that was just them chasing the lightning, what in the world happens in 2026 when they finally catch it? It really seems like the truly wild ride is just getting started.